My wife, 38F, and I, 39M, have been married for 8 years and have a 4-year-old son. My wife's younger brother, Joe, and his GF are moving into an apartment together at the beginning of June. But GF's lease is up at the end of April, so she needed to move out of her place. But Joe currently lives in a studio apartment, so he doesn't have room for all her stuff. So they were going to move all of GF's stuff into a storage unit for a month until they get their new place together. A little over a month ago, Joe had asked my wife if we would be able to help them move GF's stuff, and she agreed. My mother-in-law was supposed to watch our son so we could both help, but she fell ill and had to cancel. My wife suggested trying to get a babysitter for that day, but I didn't want to spend hundreds on a babysitter to help someone move. That's dumb. And bringing a 4-year-old with us would not be helpful to anyone. This turned into an argument between us because she said I should help them move while she watches our son, since I'm stronger than she is and I know how to drive our truck with a trailer. I told her that she should help them and have them rent a U-Haul for the day. We compromised by telling Joe that I would help them, but they need to get a U-Haul instead of using our truck and trailer. Then, the morning of the move, this past Saturday, my wife told me that a friend of hers got sweet tickets through work to a hockey game for that day and invited them. Yes, sweet tickets to a playoff hockey game. She said she would be bringing our son since her friend was bringing her kids too. Great, so not only do I get stuck helping someone move, but my wife and son get to go have an amazing experience together that I miss out on. And yes, this was my son's first major sporting event and I was missing it. And wouldn't you know it, Joe never got a U-Haul. And his GF wasn't even close to packed up and ready when I got there. I spent 7 to 8 hours and multiple trips back and forth helping them move. All the while my wife is sending pictures to our family group chat of how much fun they're having at the hockey game. When everyone was home that night, my wife was surprised that I wasn't in a good mood. She said that I acted like I barely cared when our son was telling us about the hockey game and how much fun it was. I asked her if she was seriously confused about why I was upset, and she told me to tell her. So, I started railing off all the reasons I had to be off. She volunteered me to help. She got to spend the day doing something very special with our son that I missed out on. Her brother and his GF were not prepared, and I had spent the entire day doing manual labor. I ended my little rant by telling her that she is never going to volunteer me to help her family ever again. She told me I was overreacting and I can't hold it against her that her friend invited them to the game. She also said I'm not being fair by blaming her for Joe and his GF. Comment 1. NTA: if your brother-in-law and his girlfriend weren't packed when you arrived, you should have left and told them to call you when they were done packing. If someone asks for assistance moving, it implies they are packed. Comment 2. I have learned to offer X amount of time when friends ask for help moving/painting/doing renos. So I will tell them directly that I am willing to help them for 4 hours and then ask when that would be the most helpful. Then I am happy to help pack boxes, move boxes, unload the trailer, arrange furniture. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But once my time is up, I'm out of there. Then I buy myself pizza and beer on the way home. Comment 3. NTA: I've helped a lot of people move and not a single one was totally ready to move. It's a spectrum and most are on the not totally packed and definitely haven't cleaned end. Then he didn't even bother with the owl. She knew she was setting you up for a shit day as soon as she said she was staying home to watch your son. Going to the hockey game was just the cherry on your sheet sundae. My husband Rich and I have been married for 15 years. We have 2 children together, ages 13 and 11. Rich has 2 children from his marriage to his late wife, May. My stepkids are 24 and 23. My stepson is the oldest, stepdaughter is the youngest. When Rich first found out he was going to be a father, he started a scrapbook for his son that had photos and written memories and little mementos added in that he continued throughout the next 25 years. He did the same for his other 3 children as well. This book documents everything from fun memories to sweet and heartfelt ones to even some more heartbreaking ones, like the loss of May. My husband has decided the scrapbook will be his gift to his son for his 25th birthday. He included all sorts of family photos and moments in this scrapbook, including since we got married and had our kids. But both my stepkids have been pretty clear that they do not have a fondness for me or for their half-siblings, and they have no trace of us in their homes. When he moved out, he left behind photos he was in that included me and my children, his half-siblings. And when my husband mentioned he had forgotten some photos, my stepson replied he had double and triple checked and had everything he wanted. My stepdaughter was a little more clear, and she actually tossed any unwanted photos in the trash before she moved out. On their social media they post family photos, but funnily enough they never have me or their half-siblings included. They never acknowledge us online at all. My stepkids both also said they'd like it if their dad didn't bring us, because if he's visiting they'd like to see him and only him. My husband brushed off that comment by saying he could stop by on his own too, but that he'd never see the rest of us if we didn't visit. I'll say right here, I was not an affair partner, nor did I ever expect the kids to forget about their mom or replace her with me. Nor did I expect my husband to. I did not push myself on them. The kids never spoke out against us getting married or brought any issues to me or my husband about us. And we did talk to them. It really only became apparent after they became adults. So when my husband brought up that he was going to gift the scrapbook to his son for his 25th birthday, I asked him if he was sure, and he was like, why not? His son would love it and he couldn't wait for us all to go through it together. I told him I wasn't so sure he'd love all of it given his refusal to have photos of me or the kids in his home. He told me it's not like he could remove them. I didn't comment. He asked me what I expected and then asked if I thought he'd rip those pages out or something. I said yes. He asked why I was being so negative, and I told him that given the last several years I really didn't think the gift would be received the way he's expecting. My husband told me my negativity was too much and he was unhappy with me thinking of his kids like that. Comment 1. NTA. Your husband is in major denial re how his kids feel about you and their half-siblings. That said, if he's bent on giving this gift, he can knock himself out, but his son will probably rip out the pages with pictures he doesn't want, best case, or it may put a rift between him and his dad, worst case. I truly don't understand what your husband is thinking here. Comment 2. NTA. I think you have handled this in the best way you possibly can. You have no delusion about your relationship with his children and the relationship they want to have with you. But unfortunately your husband is still operating under the idea that you have successfully become one happy blended family. It's sad that's not the case, but it's good you can see that clearly. I say let this lie, you have made your opinion known. If he still follows through with giving this gift, then it's on him to deal with any disappointment he receives from them. Remember, it doesn't matter how clearly you can see this is not a good idea. If he believes it is, then let him do what he wants. Telling him how his kids will react will only breed animosity towards you, even if you are proven correct. It's best to just let the kids tell their dad how they feel, regardless of how sad and disappointed you think he may be. Comment 3. Scan the scrapbook before gifting it. If the son destroys it, your husband's hard work won't be lost forever. I wouldn't say another word about how it will be received. He needs to see it for himself, but when the son inevitably does show his true colors, remind your husband that these scrapbooks were a beautiful reminder of his memories, and he has many more to make with all 4 kids, so maybe he should just keep adding to it and expect to leave it to them when he passes. I, F36, recently told my stepson, M14, that I won't be his ATM anymore because he has been so mean and rude to me, and now his mom, F39, won't stop texting me that I'm a horrible person for even telling my stepson all the things I will no longer pay for. Little backstory: my husband passed away in 2022. My husband had full custody of his son, and his mom was pretty much MIA most of time. My husband and I got together when my stepson was 3, and so he lived with me in my house for the last 9 years. When my husband passed, custody defaulted back to mom, and although she originally said she was going to sign custody to me, she changed her mind. I did want to fight for custody, but lawyers told me being absent while the other parent had custody and cared for the child wasn't grounds enough to state she was an unfit parent. So we finished out the school year and he went to live with his mom in the next state over. I was worried that she would try to cut me out, so I said I would keep paying for his phone to make sure I had some way to talk with him. Mom has not had a job in the last 15 years, she lives off of her dad but his income only goes so far. So the last 2 years I started paying for more things. Along with the fun stuff my stepson would ask for, I also started paying for things his mom needed help with. He's 14 now, so I know attitude is common, but he's been downright nasty to me. Well, the other day he texts me and says that the Xbox I got him for Christmas is a piece of shit and I'm a bitch for not getting the X series or whatever. I got him the Xbox One for Christmas and he seemed really happy with it, and I pay for the monthly subscription for the Xbox Game Pass. So that brings us to when I told him if he cannot be nice to me, I won't be his ATM anymore. Of course he was like, what does that even mean? And that's when I told him I am done paying for everything. I'm no longer paying for your phone, your football gear and fees, football camp, video games, the Game Pass, streaming services, and I will no longer buy you concert tickets. I'm done. He then called me a whore and I haven't heard from him since. I text his mom the screenshots so she was aware of what had happened, and she has been blowing up my phone calling me a horrible person for taking stuff away from her son. She's also pissed that I told my stepson all the things I pay for, and apparently he had no clue I paid for most of that stuff, and so now he's been calling her a lazy mooch. I feel bad that I basically threw a tantrum over a teen's attitude and now it's causing problems between him and his mom, but also I really am done with being used for money. Comment 1. NTA. Never will understand how people who depend financially on someone can treat them badly. You don't have to like or love them, but you must respect and be polite to such people. If you do not, then you are not worthy of their respect, thus not worthy to get any money out of them. If you are dumb enough to play with fire, then why you are so surprised that it burns? Tell his mom that I thought I might be too harsh, but after hearing you I am sure that I did the right thing, so tell your son that because of you he now has zero chance on using me as an ATM, thanks for your help. Comment 2. NTA, but that kid has gone through some shit. Has he had grief counseling, at the minimum? OP comment. When he was in my custody before he moved, he was in counseling. I gave his mom a list of resources his counselor gave me when I told the counselor about the upcoming changes. From my knowledge, he hasn't seen a counselor or any kind of therapy since the move. However, mom not having a job, I have no idea what the health insurance situation, and so I can understand how that might impact things. So for context, me and my family have been living in America for 10 years, which in my mom's words is longer than they expected to be here. For the past 4 months my mom has been telling me how dad is tired and I don't think he will last here for another summer. Anytime I talk to her this has been the topic, you know, dad is tired and he would like to move back, I can see it in his eyes, were her exact words. And because I only have 1 year left of school, she keeps telling me to find colleges in Greece because we will be moving. I tried to not give her an answer and just smile and leave any time she says that. I thought about it and I don't want to move, I don't want to leave this place. She doesn't understand why I don't want to move because she sees Greece as her home, which I understand, she grew up there, but I lived here for 10 years and have no memories, or good memories, of Greece anyways. Yesterday we had a talk about it. She brought it up as soon as I came from school. You know, I found a good college for you in Greece, it's very close to home. And gave me directions of how to get there, like I knew the streets. I didn't say anything and tried to eat my food. You know, dad is tired and I don't think he can do this no longer, and continued, look, we can stay until you finish school and then you can go to college in Greece, and continued, you need to think reasonable, plus it's going to be an American college, you don't even need to know Greek. I got tired and finally told her I don't want to go back, I would like to stay here instead. She got angry and started screaming, you understand that dad can't keep working like this, he is getting tired. I told her okay and that I still want to stay here. She told me I can't support myself because I don't have a job, and I told her I am going to get a job this summer. She paused for a moment and started telling me how it's not like I'm going to lose anything. I don't even have friends and don't go outside, so why would I want to stay here? I screamed back at her and told her, I'm not telling you to stay here, I'm not yelling at Dad for being tired, I just don't want to move. She didn't stop but got angrier and told me, and where are you going to live? You know we will sell this house, right? You know how hard it is to get an apartment? You don't even know how to cook your own food. So at that point I just went back to eating and stopped talking. She still went on about the college and I said to her, while laughing, after that whole hour, Mom, can I just get some silence? You have been talking for an hour. Please, I'm trying to eat. Then finally she just went on talking about the show on the TV. Not gonna lie, that conversation exhausted me so back I immediately fell asleep at like 5 p.m. until it was morning. But moving back to that place is not an option. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I just hope she stops talking about it. Comment 1. NTA for wanting to stay. But it sounds like you need to start making plans. Getting a job in the summer is great, but how much will you make? How much do you need to make in order to stay? Do you have roommates? Friends you can stay with? Do you have a support system here? This is a big decision and needs to be thought out. If you can make it work, great. Comment 2. I'm not going to pass judgment. But according to you, after an exhausting conversation, you went and slept for a minimum of 12 hours, and you think you're going to be able to support yourself through college with a summer job? You also apparently have nothing in place or planned for where you're going to live, or how. I mean, I'm sorry, but this just sounds like a total disaster waiting to happen. Comment 3. This. From the whole post I get that OP is extremely easy to tire, avoids even the slightest confrontation and has no other plan than to not go back to Greece. They won't last a day without their parents. Better start packing, man.